Hey, I'm Humalio, and welcome to the Save California Salmon Youth Advocacy Series. I am Leewani Hutt, Save California Salmon Youth Intern and member of the Hoopa Tribe. This series focuses on how to be an environmental advocate in your community and is relevant regardless of whether you're just getting started or are a longtime advocate that just wants to learn more. In this series, we discussed how to become an ally by uplifting Indigenous voices and crediting Indigenous knowledge. We learned how to participate in public testimonies, why it's important to become an advocate, and how advocacy works to create better communities. This series is dedicated to encouraging youth involvement and advocacy to invoke long-term change. Now let's put this knowledge to action and discuss ways that you can become an advocate. In video 2, I talked about creating clubs at your school and reaching out to local organizations to get involved in the work they're doing. Creating or joining these spaces creates networks and provides the resources necessary to create change in your community. This is because by gathering people to work for certain causes and rallying participation in events like public testimonies or protests, you are spreading awareness. As president of the Native American Club at Arcata High School, I worked with my fellow club members to educate the student body on some of the local social and environmental issues and how it affects local tribes. Some of my favorite social justice activities that the Native American Club offers include documentary movie nights, the videos we created to spread awareness on local issues, club discussions on current tribal news, and Native American history. Another example of school clubs being a way to get involved is at Hoopa High School, where student advocates created a Water Protectors Club. Students gathered weekly during lunch to discuss current California water crises and attended public testimonies at the California State Water Board meetings. Being a part of a club has been a major part of my high school experience, and I highly recommend you start your own club. Every school is different, but if you would like to start a club, I would suggest going to the office and telling the school faculty member about your plans and working with them to figure out the process. The most important part of starting a club is rallying a group of students who are interested in participating and finding support from the larger community. As we've discussed, being an advocate means being an active listener and learner. Knowing the facts is important, and staying up to date on current local, state, and national issues allows us to have a greater understanding of the societal impacts of our advocacy work in the community. Following national and local news is one way to stay informed, though it is not the only source of information we can utilize. Sometimes the news is not inclusive of different perspectives and can exclude specific populations, especially Indigenous peoples. This is why it is important to engage critically when watching the news, by considering whose voices is not being highlighted in the media. If you feel like a certain topic is not being covered in your local newspaper, you can always write an opinion piece, otherwise known as an op-ed, for the newspaper to publish, which will help spread awareness on a specific topic through your perspective. Also, acquiring news from multiple outlets is a good way to ensure you are gathering multiple perspectives on current issues and gaining awareness on issues that may not be getting coverage by large news organizations. Save California Salmon's website has educational and media resources where you can learn more about local rivers and tribal social and environmental justice. We also print a biannual newsletter that discusses the various projects we engage with in order to push back against the dominant California water narrative. So be sure to check this out. It is important to remember that activism can be really fun. For example, to all you artists out there, art is actually a great way to participate in advocacy. As I mentioned earlier, advocacy is about becoming an active learner and then helping to educate others. Art is a great way to spread awareness by offering another way to interpret information. This is to say that when people are learning new concepts, it is often helpful to learn them in multiple forms: audible, hands-on, and visual. Art as activism provides various ways for people to learn and is a great way to express yourself. Art is the tangible component that works towards your community goals. My favorite type of environmental advocacy is taking up space in nature and forming a connection with the land and water by participating in either recreational or cultural activities. Settler colonialism seeks to disconnect us from land in order for the elite to maintain control over it, removing our immediate access to the natural resources. . Decolonization happens when we reconnect with the land and show that land is much more valuable than using it as a means to make a profit. It is our right and responsibility to ensure that our natural resources are protected and shared. Save California Salmon offers free rafting trips in the Trinity and Klamath Rivers, as well as other summer events along the coast and inland that help to get youth out in nature. Taking up space in nature by enjoying it for what it can offer us is a great way to be an environmental advocate.
John, we're going to head you out. We're going to head you out the class. Buck, we're going to talk about this a little bit. Okay?
As we bring this series to a close, it is time for you to go and get involved in your community. As a youth advocate, you can make a difference. Your voice matters, and the actions you take today can help create a better future. I would like to emphasize that the journey of becoming an advocate is different for everyone. It is a lifelong process, and it can start simply by thinking or talking about the issues you see and what you love about your community. Thank you for listening to the Save California Salmon Youth Advocacy series. I hope you feel inspired and confident in becoming a youth advocate. I know that the tips you have learned throughout this series will help you begin your journey as an advocate, who will have a positive effect on your community. Thanks again, Satya. Bye.